Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chine. If this is your first time here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for being here. So in today's video, I'll be taking you guys through the process of making this two-piece. So if you would love to know how I made this, please keep watching. For this tutorial, I'll be using 2.5 yards of crepe fabric. Please, if you're a plus size, just buy 3 yards so it will be enough for you. I'll also be using my basic trouser pattern. I have a detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic trouser, so you can go ahead and watch it. Or better still, if you have your own way of drafting your basic trouser, you can go ahead and draft it, then use the pattern for the gathered waist trouser. The main reason why I'm using my basic trouser pattern for this tutorial is because I need the crotch area to relax well after making the trouser. So in this video, I'll be teaching you guys how to make both the top and the trouser. I'll start with the top. I'll show you guys how to cut and sew the top. So without wasting much of your time, let's just dive into it. So I folded my fabric into two. Okay, the next thing I did is to get the length of my top. Now the length of my top is 18 inches. For a plus size, the length of your top will be longer. It might be 19, 20 or 21 inches depending on where you want the crop top to stop. For the length of the crop top, my folding allowance is included. Okay, now my normal length is 16, so I added ½ inch for the shoulder joining and 1.5 for folding. So the next thing I did is to cut out the top. I'm trying to manage my fabric, so I had to keep the rest for the trouser. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to get the shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 14 inches. If I divide it by 2, I'll have 7 inches. So I'll just measure out 7 inches. Then the length of the sleeve is 10 inches. The length of the sleeve is 10 inches. So I'll just measure 10 inches. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for shoulder slant. You can either come down by 1 inch or 1.5. Okay, so I'll come down by 1 inch, then I'll mark it. The next thing is to put my round sleeve measurement. Now my round sleeve measurement for a free top is 18 inches. If I divide it by 2, I'll have 9. So I'll measure out 9 inches, then I'll mark it. Then I'll go over to the waist. Now for the waist measurement, I'm not going to be using my normal waist measurement because this top is a free top and it will have elastic, so I won't be using my waist measurement. What I normally do is I divide my bust measurement by 4, then I'll add extra 8 inches. Now you can add less than 8 inches, it all depends on what you want. So after adding my 8 inches, I'll connect to the round sleeve. Okay, I'll just connect to the round sleeve. For the neckline, I'll be using 3 inches for the width and 3 inches for the depth. So I'm going to be cutting out one side of the shoulder because one side will have like an off shoulder. So I'll go ahead and cut the top, then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I'm done cutting out the top. Please, the front and back neckline is the same. Okay, the front and back neckline is the same. I had to place the back and also cut it exactly the same way I cut the front. For the cutout on one side of the shoulder, I'll measure my sleeve length. Now I'll measure it from the round sleeve. I'll measure the 10 inches. Okay, then I'll measure my shoulder measurement. From the shoulder measurement, I'll come down by 5 inches. Okay, now this cutout is on one side of the shoulder, not on both sides. I'll use my chalk to connect the line. From the depth of the neck, I'll connect a curved line to the side of the shoulder where I marked. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to open up the front and the back, then cut. Okay, so it's very easy. Just watch and follow the same process. In case you don't want the cutout to be too wide, you can come down by 2 or 3 inches from the shoulder instead of 5 inches. So the next thing I'll do is to cut out. Please, this cutout is on one side of the shoulder, so you have to be careful when you're cutting. So I'm cutting the front and the back at the same time. Okay, I'm cutting the front and the back at the same time. So this is what I have after cutting it. So this is the full top. I'm done cutting the front and the back. This top is very easy to sew. Once I join the front and the back, I'll just fold the down part, then I will put my elastic and the top will be ready. So the next thing I'll be showing you guys is how to cut the trouser. So to cut my trouser, I folded my fabric into two, 1 yard for the front and 1 yard for the back. Like I'm using the whole 1 yard for the front part of the trouser. Okay, now the length of my trouser is 44. Normally I'll use 46 inches because I like it long, so that when I wear heels it will just cover my leg. I'm using 16 inches for the waist of my trouser. Now you can decide to use 18 or 20 inches. It all depends on how much gathers you want on your trouser. So I'm not going to follow the curve of the side of the trouser. I'll just cut the folded part straight until I get to the hem of the trouser. The next thing I'll do now is to cut the crotch size. So I'll just add ½ inch allowance and cut. Okay, so just follow the crotch exactly the way it is on the pattern and cut. Okay, and once you get to the thigh area, please cut straight down. Ignore the curve on the pattern. There is no need for you to curve the trouser. So once you're done cutting, go over to the waistline and add 1 inch to the crotch length. This trouser is a high waist trouser and my pattern is a low waist trouser, so I'm going to be adding 1 inch, then 2 inches for my band. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to cut the back, then I'll show you guys how to join the top and the trouser. So for the back of my pattern, I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did in front. The only difference is that I'm using 1 yard for the back. Normally I'm supposed to use 1.5, but because I'm trying to manage my fabric, my front is going to be bigger than my back. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that both the front and the back have excess, so I'll just make the back gathers a bit scanty. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing I did in front, I'm doing it for the back, then I'll just cut out the side and that will be it. So the first thing I'm going to be sewing is a top. Okay, I'll turn the back and sew the shoulder of the front and the back. Then I'll use bias tape for the neckline. Okay, so after joining the shoulder and also sewing the neckline, I'll show you guys what it looks like. I'm done joining the shoulder and the neckline here. The next thing I'm going to do now is to hem the round sleeve. So once I'm done hemming the round sleeve, I'll just close the sides. After closing the sides of the top, I'll use my scissors to notch the curved part of the side. Okay, this is very important so that it will not squeeze. So I'm done doing all that here. I've folded the round sleeve and also closed the sides of the top. Okay, I did the same thing on both sides. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to fold the downside. That's where I'll pass my elastic and my top will be ready. For the neck of this top, in case you don't want an off shoulder, you can choose to make the neckline anyhow you want it. So I'll just hem the down part and I'll put my elastic, then I'll show you guys the finished result. So this is the top after putting the elastic. You can see how it looks. So you can choose to make this top anyhow you want. You can choose a V-neck, you can choose any other type of neck. If you want it longer, you can go ahead and make it longer, but I love it short. I love the crop top with the trouser. So this is the finished result. Okay, this is the finished result. This is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll be showing you guys is how to make the trouser. For the front part of the trouser, the first thing I'm going to do is to close the crotch. I'll also close the crotch of the back. The only difference is that I'll measure out 6 or 7 inches. That's where I'll fix my zip, then I'll close the remaining part. So this is the back. Like I said, I'll measure out 6 or 7 inches. That is for the zip. Then I'll close up the rest. I'm done sewing the back and the front. Now this is the back. Like I said, I measured 7 inches for my zip, then I closed up the rest, and this is the front. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to close the inseam. So I'll join the front and the back, then from the center I will sew all the way to the seam. You need to make sure the front and the back is equal, just the way I placed it. That's exactly how you place it. You will join one side first, then when you're done you join the other side. Okay, so you have to do it one after the other. Sew from the center. So I'm going to sew by ½ inch. Please, you need to make sure the front and the back is equal. If you sew more than ½ inch, your crotch is going to be very tight. So I'll just do that and show you guys. So I'm done sewing the inseam, and this is it. Okay, please don't forget you're to start from the center. So after sewing the inseam line, I had to turn the trouser to the front, and this is what I have. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to do a gather stitch on the front and the back. So I'll quickly do that now. So after doing my gather stitch, this is what I have. Now you can sew one line and then drag the thread, or you can sew 2 lines. Just do whatever that works for you. I will not advise doing pleats for this trouser. The reason is because the outcome might not look the same as when you do a gather stitch. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to close the sides. This trouser has an inseam pocket. So what I'll do now is from the top I'll sew 2 inches, okay, then I'll measure out 6 inches for the pocket, then I'll continue sewing the remaining part. I'll do a different video on how to cut the pocket. This video is already very long, so I'll teach you guys how to cut the pocket in a different video. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and sew the sides, then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like. So I'm done sewing up the sides, and this is what I have. Okay, like I said, you sew 2 inches from the top, then leave 6 inches for the pocket, then continue your sewing. Okay, so that's exactly what I did here. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is to sew in my pocket, but before that I want to quickly turn it to the front side so that I'll show you guys what the trouser looks like. I'm almost done with it. The next thing I'll do is to fix my band, and the trouser is done. For the band, my waist measurement is 27, so I'll add 2 inches because I'll be fixing my zip from the band. Okay, so I'll just quickly cut the band and show you guys. My fabric was not enough for the band, so I had to use another fabric that is very similar. The length of my band is 3 inches, so if I fold it into 2, I'll have 1.5. Okay, so I want to use ½ inch to join the band to the trouser. Now the reason is because I'm using a different fabric, so I don't want it to be so obvious. The band is meant to be 2 inches, but because my fabric was not enough, I had to make the band smaller. Please, you can iron a soft stay or a hair stay on the band. So I'll just go ahead and join the band and the zip. I'll come back and show you guys how to fix the pocket. So this is the outcome. Okay, I also went ahead to fix the zip. So the last thing I'll be doing now is to fix my pocket. So I'll quickly show you guys how to fix the pocket. To fix the pocket, I'll turn the back of the trouser, then on the 6 inches that I left open, I will sew the pocket on both sides. I'll start sewing the pocket after the 2 inches that I sewed. So you just join the pocket on both sides, then close it from the back. So I'll just show you guys how it looks. So after joining it, this is what I have. Remember, this is an inseam pocket. You will just close it from the back so that you can easily fix your hand. So this is the finished result. If you have any question, please ask me in the comment section. I'll do a different video on how to cut different types of pockets and also how to sew different types of pockets. And I think I'll do a different video on the proper way to fix a trouser band. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I have a lot of sewing tutorials coming up on this channel, so you wouldn't want to miss out. Turn on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video, you'll be notified. So this is the finished results. I really love this two-piece. I hope you love it too. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.